In the global business arena, governance is often associated with compliance, regulation, and risk mitigation. In Africa, however, governance is far more than a box ticking exercise. It is a competitive advantage, a differentiator that they can determine whether a company merely survives or thrives in one of the world's most dynamic and complex regions. Governance in Africa is seen as trust capital. Across Africa, businesses often operate in environments where public trust in institutions is fragile. Corruption scandals, weak enforcement mechanisms, and political uncertainty have eroded confidence in many sectors. In such contexts, a company that demonstrates transparency, accountability, and integrity immediately stands apart. Good governance builds trust capital with stakeholders, customers, regulators, employees, and communities. This trust becomes an intangible asset, opening doors to partnerships, easing regulatory approvals, and strengthening brand reputation. In markets where trust is scarce, governance itself becomes a competitive edge or advantage. When thinking about investor confidence and access to capital, global investors increasingly assess governance as a core factor in decision making. Development finance institutions, private equity firms, and multinational corporations are more willing to back African companies with strong governance structures. They view governance as a proxy for risk management and long-term sustainability. For African businesses seeking to scale or access international capital, good governance is vital. Good governance reassures investors that their capital will be deployed responsibly, risks will be monitored, and returns are not undermined by weak internal control. Operational resilience in volatile environments. When we're thinking about this, African markets can be very unpredictable. Currency volatility, political transitions, and regulatory changes are frequent realities. Governance structures that prioritize risk management, scenario planning, and board independence allow companies to anticipate shocks and pivot strategically. For example, a company with robust governance will have contingency plans for currency swings, succession planning for leadership continuity, and compliance systems to quickly adopt to new regulations. This resilience provides stability in volatile environments, enabling long-term growth. When you think about governance, attracting and retaining talent is one of the key challenges that you may find. Africa's greatest resource is people, young, ambitious, and entrepreneurial. Yet talent is increasingly mobile, seeking workplaces where they feel respected, included, and valued. Good governance signals fairness in decision-making, equity in opportunities, and accountability in leadership. Employees are more likely to join and stay with organizations that demonstrate ethical practices and inclusivity. For companies competing in a tight talent market, governance directly translates into employee loyalty and productivity. Good governance also strengthens the social license to operate. In Africa, a company's relationship with its community is as important as its relationship with regulators, and I've seen it many times. Communities expect businesses to contribute meaningfully to social and economic development, from job creation and training to environmental stewardship. Governance that integrates stakeholder management into corporate strategy ensures companies are not seen as extractive outsiders, but as genuine partners in growth. This social license to operate reduces friction, it mitigates reputational risks, and enhances long-term sustainability. And when thinking about governance and innovation, good governance is sometimes portrayed as rigid or bureaucratic, but in Africa, it often enables innovation. By creating clear decision-making structures, ensuring accountability, and fostering inclusivity, governance allows organizations to innovate responsibly. When diverse voices are heard in leadership, companies are better positioned to spot opportunities in tech, renewable energy, or agriculture, sectors where Africa is leaping ahead. Effective governance ensures these innovations scale without creating systemic risks. In conclusion, in Africa's dynamic markets, good governance is not a compliance burden, it is a strategic differentiator. Companies that invest in governance build trust capital. They attract investors, retain top talent, strengthen their community relationships, and become more resilient to shocks. In a context of immense opportunity but also significant volatility, governance is what separates organizations that merely adapt from those that truly lead. For African businesses, good governance is not just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do.